Days from now, the biggest game on Earth kicks off 6 miles from this parking lot. And this parking lot is why. Before the cars, this was a field. And in 1885, America played its very first international match on it. To explain that, you need a spool of thread, a boatload of Scots, and a company team that got wildly out of hand. In 1865, Scotland's Clark family brought their thread empire from Paisley to the banks of the Passaic River. Thousands of Scottish mill workers followed. Historians say they came down the gangplanks with luggage crowned by a ball. In 1883, 150 mill employees founded a team named after a product, ONT, our new thread. American soccer's first ruling body was not born in a boardroom. It was born in the mill's firehouse in 1884. They spent $300 on a championship cup, topped with a tiny track runner. America didn't make soccer statues yet. The first final was played on Valentine's Day, 1885, in the snow, for 25 cents a ticket. ONT won, 2-1. New York protested the result. The goalposts were too small, they claimed, and one player was ineligible. So that April, they replayed the entire final. ONT won again, 1-0, champions, fair and square, twice over. They took the next 2 national finals as well, in 1886 and 87, both times against Kearny Rangers from across town. Then, November 1885, Canada came to Clark Field for the first international match ever played outside the British Isles. 2,000 people came. The newspapers counted 60 ladies, one overwhelmed referee, and at one point, an actual fist fight on the field. Canada won, so America demanded a rematch the next Thanksgiving and beat them 3-2 in a howling rainstorm. Fans who wouldn't pay watched free from parked freight cars. The newspaper admitted they had by far the better view. The mill was so proud it paid to send the team on tour through Canada. 11 matches, 9 wins. The boss covered everything. By 1888, the torch was passed to the cotton mills of Massachusetts. Kearny's dynasty faded. The game itself did not. Next door in Harrison, the town team won both the league and the cup in 1912, arguably America's first ever double. Harrison built a 20,000-seat stadium, and it became a soccer cathedral. National Cup finals were decided on its grass. And soccer was booming. By the 20s, it was America's second biggest sport, importing stars from Europe by the boatload. Then in August of 1924, at the very peak of that boom, Harrison's 20,000-seat cathedral burned to the ground. It would not last. The league and the National Federation went to war over who actually ran American soccer. The fight got ugly enough that FIFA branded the whole league an outlaw. When peace finally came, it was October of 1929. 2 weeks later, Wall Street crashed. The golden age of American soccer died with everybody's money. But before the lights went out, one last run. 1930, Uruguay, the very first World Cup, and America sent a team. They sailed 18 days from Hoboken on a ship their coach said had very poor bathrooms. They trained on the deck. That team reached the semifinals. Nearly a century later, that is still the best any U.S. men's team has ever done. And the captain who led them there was a mill worker's son from right next door in Harrison. The story goes that mid-match, the team trainer dropped his bag, smashed a bottle of chloroform, and knocked himself out cold. The Depression wiped out pro soccer for good. But Kearny never stopped, and the Scots Club won 5 straight titles in the dark. Fast forward, the 1970s. In a clubhouse bar on Patterson Street, a group of Scottish fathers made a decision. They founded a youth club and named it Thistle. Someone objected. "Are you naming it after a fish and chip shop?" They were. The fathers had played for the Scots themselves. Now they coached their own sons on a dirt field called the Gunnell Oval. 3 of those kids were John Harkes, Tony Meola, and Tab Ramos. Same club, same streets. Hold that thought. Thistle kids grew up into Kearny High players, and Kearny High won 4 state championships in the 80s. 400 fans traveled to their away games and marched across the field at halftime. They called themselves the Kearny Army. The national team, meanwhile, was stuck. No World Cup since 1950. But the Kearny kids were coming up behind them. Cut to November 1989. A final qualifier in Trinidad. Win it, and America goes to its first World Cup in 40 years. They won it, with Meola in goal and Harkes and Ramos running the midfield. Kearny had dragged America back to the World Cup. Italy 1990 was rough. 3 straight losses, college kids against giants, but they only lost to the host nation by 1 goal. It was validation enough. England poached Harkes, who won a cup final at Wembley and became the first Kearny kid in the new Premier League. Then 1994. The next World Cup was hosted by America itself. The US reached the knockouts and drew mighty Brazil. That Brazil match told the town's whole story. Meola wore the armband, Ramos left on a stretcher, and Harkes, suspended, could only watch. They lost by a single goal to the eventual champions. Weeks later, Meola was trying out as a Jets place kicker. That is what soccer paid. So the country finally built a real league of its own. The first player Major League Soccer ever signed was Tab Ramos. Nobody ever made Soccertown USA official. No law, no proclamation. The town just hung the banners itself, which is better somehow. The soccer world pays its respects now. The Premier League built its first American mini pitch at Harkes' old elementary school in Kearny. This summer, the Scots Club repainted itself Scotland blue and white, red doors and all. Every single match is showing in there. The stadium next door seats more people than Harrison has residents, and it stands in the parent town of the place it all began. Which brings us back to the parking lot. That asphalt was Clark Field, where America's very first international was played. On July 19th, the World Cup final kicks off at MetLife, 6 miles away. The game never really left the neighborhood. One more thing, America's first soccer trophy, the one topped with the little track runner, went missing for 20 years. It finally turned up in a Newark pawn shop window. The game has come home before. It knows the way.